Welcome to Discover Janesville. We are sitting here on the patio of Mocha Moments. The birds are singing, and I am glad to have here with me Pam Van Brocklin.
Thank you, Yuri.
Vice President of Friends of Riverside Park.
Yes, Friends of Riverside. One of my favorite things, yes.
I'll just cut right to the chase. How did you fall in love with the Riverside Park?
I don't know. Riverside Park was always there. It was always beautiful. It was just part of my life. And it's not, I actually didn't live far from the park, but it's not like we went there all that often. It was just one of those things that Janesville offered that many people in Janesville enjoyed. So you grew up with it. And, you know, what I'm discovering is the more involved I get with this, it's not, you know, how did I fall in love with Riverside Park, is how did so many people fall in love with Riverside Park.
It really is an incredible group because of how big it is. So often a number of volunteers or a number of involved people is relatively small. Mm-hmm. And it sounds like with Riverside you've got, how many people you...
Well, we have 80 members. We haven't really even had an official membership drive. We've been so busy. We do have a smaller core group of people that, you know, are at our meetings, probably 12 to 15.
You probably have tiers of membership with 80 people.
Yeah, and it's just so neat to hear people's stories. And, you know, you get these letters from people out of town. Oh, I grew up in Janesville. I just treasured Riverside Park. And, you know, sending us funds for a membership and, you know, telling us their stories. You know, obviously, older people just have phenomenal memories of the park.
It used to be the designated park for the city?
Mm-hmm. It was Janesville's first large park, established in 1922. It was just a gorgeous piece of property, still is, on the Rock River. There's over 1.5 miles of river shoreline. I think of it as our Great River Park, and I saw it referred to in an article as the Great Riverside. So because it was the first park, and it was cute in the articles, they said where the masses, they needed a park for the masses. And so it was developed. They put a lot
of socialism to it.
Well, they were just finishing GM, and you know they were making this big step forward. You know, as a city,
as a city. As the city kind of went through a growth spurt. And because of the plan, and so they needed to have the park. And
and I think they felt that they were behind in that area, because they didn't have a large park, and other communities did. But they put a lot of thought and planning. Henry Traxler was our first city manager, and Joe Lustig was city engineer, and we have 2 parks named after them now. In fact, as I was reading the history, I thought, oh my gosh, this should be Traxler Park. And then, you know, as I found out how involved Lustig was, I'm like, oh my gosh, this should be Lustig Park. But Riverside's just such a beautiful name. It's such a beautiful park.
Now, the group has been around for since 2006?
Yeah, the fall of 2006.
And what are some of the things that you've been able to accomplish? Because it's a pretty impressive task that you have undertaken and still are.
Mm-hmm. Well, one of our first projects was restoring Lilac Circle. I have to be honest with you, when we first came upon the scene, we were all extremely concerned, and we've had a lot of people say to us, why did you get involved in this? And it is almost, well, how could you not? We all just leapt at the opportunity to try and do something to improve the park. So
there was so much to do.
So much to do. And, you know, buildings were shuttered. All of the great recreation that brought people down there and kept people down there was pretty much, I always say the key identifiable features of the park were slowly eroding. In fact, most of them were gone. The artesian wells and the pool and the upper road and on and on. So Devil's Staircase was everything was kind of in disrepair. So one of our first projects was restoring Lilac Circle, and we just got up there with a group of people and started chainsawing and cutting down. And we discovered that these lilacs were planted by the Women's Garden Club in the late 1920s, so it almost felt like a secret garden type thing, exposing these lilacs. And if you go up there now, they're all there. They'll be blooming for their 2nd year in May next month, and we are working with the garden club in Janesville, the Master Gardeners, I'm sorry.
And the views from that lilac circle are just incredible.
It's very nice, very pretty.
What I like about another thing that appeals to me, I guess, about the organization, about the park, is that right now, with the unemployment, there's people who have the opportunity to get involved. Mm-hmm. And there's so much to do, and that's a great opportunity for people who want to volunteer, mm-hmm. who want to help out. On a beautiful sunny day like this, come out and get involved and do something good for the city, for the community, for themselves.
Oh yeah, it's just been incredible. When we were up there working, Yuri, like you said, those views are so lovely. There are these fantastic overlook points, 3 of them, where you overlook down into the park and the river. So that was our second thing that we undertook, was clearing those out. And unfortunately, now in the last 20 years, we have all of these invasive species that we never had before, so we're working to try and clear those out so the native trees can have a chance to grow. You get up there and there's these phenomenal oak trees that have been there for just ever. And you want to see that continue, and you want people to go up there 70 years from now and still have it just as lovely and beautiful.
Now, Pam, if people want to get involved with the group, mm-hmm. friends, how do they contact mm-hmm. you? How do they find you?
We have a website, www.jvlriversidepark.com. You can call me or any of the board members. We're also there's a membership on our website, and then the board members are on there too. So there are many ways you can get involved if you're not. Can't get out and work physically on our work days. We have committees for we wanted to celebrate the pool opening this spring, and that might be delayed, and the group purchased a large water feature for the pool. Wow. So last year we were going to have an 85th celebration, and we had a little flood in Janesville, so that kind of deterred that. But in a couple years we're going to have the 90th celebration. So
how has the flooding affected the park?
Very good this year. You always have flooding. You have the flood fringe. It's a natural river park, so you always have the flood fringe, and that usually always gets flooded a little bit. But there is groundwater, and of course it has to be right where our pool was, And otherwise the rest of the park is great. So we were working this morning. We're clearing around the north bathroom. We're working now with a group and some contractors to get that reopened and fixed up. We've resurfaced shuffleboard courts. One of our members is going to be organizing shuffleboard play like every Friday this summer. We're going to be working with Leisure Services trying to get something going there. So if people have questions, just give Leisure Services a call. A scout restored one of the softball diamonds down there, so the Girl Scouts and Boy Scouts can have practice down there, so that's really nice. Of course, they have the big baseball diamond that Legion Ball plays on.
Well, it sounds really great that you guys are able to build the connection, the bridge to the city, so to say, and you're working with the Leisure Services, and there's mm-hmm. partnerships, additional partnerships that are forming out of this group. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So what is on slate for this year?
This year, we just want to keep contributing every year. We'd like to be able to help the city as far as grills, picnic tables, benches. One major thing that we really would like to do is, because we have this great river that runs through our community, there's so many boaters, and we want this park to be accessible to the boaters. We always boated as a family, and there never was a place for us to pull our boat up, use the restroom facilities, use the playground equipment, play. And so by both pavilions, we want to establish boater-friendly areas where they can pull their boats up. They don't have to worry about them banging on the rocks, and come and enjoy the park, because that's what it's all about, the river and the park. So that's great. So you can invite the boaters that are coming down to stop in and enjoy the park. Yeah.
Pam, thank you so much.
Thank you, Yuri. This has been fantastic.
Thank you. Good luck.
Thanks.